Hey, I'm Oliver. For years, there's been this trend of OC creation challenges on TikTok, whether it's basing the character's characteristics off of your own or the newer pause versions of the challenge. I've always wanted to do them, but the actual doing them part never came through, so I'm finally doing it and forcing myself to do it, and I'm forcing you to come along for the ride. The first one was a pause challenge by Kiriko Art, I think it's pronounced. I was super interested about this one because each possibility seemed really intriguing, so I could make a good character design no matter what I got. So with what I rolled, I was super excited to start drawing. I love puppet characters, but I was really sad when I realized that most of the joints would be covered up by the clothes. So did I modify the jeans to be lower and add more joints to her? Yes. Yes, I did. Now, is that technically cheating? Also yes. Probably. Her pose was super fun to draw. I wanted to make it look really uncomfortable and just ever so slightly unnatural to really drive the puppet aspect further. When I started drawing, I got really sad that the eyes were supposed to be closed, when the eye color I got was really fun, heterochromia, pairing a green and purple. It just would have fit so well, and I was really upset, but you know, I moved on. But I was debating adding like a glare eye lens thing. I don't know if that makes sense. Just think of Sans from Undertale, okay? Let's just think of that. Anywho, this is how she turned out. I certainly do really like her. The next OC was made by using Carioles, the vampire OC. I feel like I'm butchering all these names. I'm gonna butcher the next one a lot more. You'll see later. This one was also super fun. I've always liked the ones that are more personalized to you, and I'm just going to go through all the options quickly because even though the video is showing on the side, I thought I'd also talk about it. So I used to definitely consider myself an introvert, but when I started high school, I came out of my shell like a ton, but I still do enjoy time by myself, so I count myself as more ambiverted, which made the choice be a gray skin for the character. I have short hair, so my character gets medium hair. I was born August 2nd, making me a Leo, which is a fire sign, so my character gets ashy gray hair. It took me so long to realize what that slide meant, but I think it's the hair color. I chose the fourth eye, which means I do white eyes or a blind character. I think I did like a mix of both. I'm not, like, if you want to headcanon something about that character, then I don't know, because I didn't think of anything, so yeah. I have 3 younger sisters, which means I needed wings, and as you can see in the speed paint, I was gonna add 3 sets of wings, but I could hardly figure out the first pair, so I ditched the idea, which is kind of unfortunate because I think it would have looked pretty sick. And then finally, I have 2 really cute cats, so my OC will be wearing Victorian clothing. For his design, I really liked all the details. I think the colors may be a bit boring, but it makes the yellow really pop. I also don't know if the clothing was that Victorian, but I looked at Victorian clothing on Pinterest, and that's what came up. So, you know, he's but a goofy goober. This very OC maker is pretty old. It's by Derpenschnoff. Derpenschnoff? I don't know if I said that right either. Anyways, it was made in 2023, and I remember it circulating like a shit ton back in the day. Just like the vampire one, I'm gonna go through the options, but before I do, I just want to say that this one is hands down my favorite piece from this video, and I think from the past like bit of me making art for this channel, and hopefully you see why too. Like I said before, I was born in August, making me a good fairy for this. I've never been more upset to have brown eyes because I did not get the chance to make my fairy have moth wings. Instead I got butterfly wings, which are kind of close. So, you know, for the next section, I had all of them. I have a septum piercing and my ears are pierced. I have a 2-headed calf tattoo, and I have many beauty marks and moles. Since I have all of those things, my fairy gets pointy ears, antlers, and a crown/hat. I am the eldest of 4, making my character have a lantern, and like I said before, I have 2 cats, so I'm giving my new OC a pet deer. And finally, I'd say my height is relatively average, so the character gets a fairy dress? Why did I write fairy dress? Of course it gets a fairy dress, it gets a flower dress. I really wanted to experiment with the lighting for this character. I've never watched the show, but I feel like it could give Over the Garden Wall vibes. I could be completely wrong for saying that because I did say that I've never watched it, so yeah. Call me out if I'm wrong. I did really struggle on the dress, but I think it turned out alright. I don't know how like flowery it is, but it's fine. After I gave the haircut that I did, I felt like she wouldn't suit dresses, if that makes sense. Also, I don't draw animals, like, ever, so that was a really big challenge for me. I personally think she turned out pretty cute, and I hope you agree with me. That is all, folks. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry for coming out a day late. Like I mentioned last video, I went on vacation last week, and then my parents got married this week. So a lot of things were going on, not at the same time, but just like one after the other. What would you name the characters in this video? I do have some plans for the next few like videos, so make sure to stay tuned to see what they are by subscribing. For the monthly prompt, only one person submitted a drawing for my little clown guy, and that was Corn. It turned out super cute, and I love it so much. For the month of September, I'm gonna say that the prompt is moth. Whether it's a literal moth, or a fairy moth, or something related to that, literally anything can be submitted as long as it makes sense to the actual prompt. Have a wonderful day or night, everybody. Bye-bye!